primarily, what I wanted to highlight is on the complexities of this particular area. I mean, we are talking from a policy standpoint, which on a ministerial level, that is our key function, is to ensure how we execute the policy. But there's limited discussion on the technical standpoint. And it's also crucial that we put much emphasis and focus to kind of highlight what are the issues that are going on the technical side. PPP is a relatively new concept here in Zanzibar, and so far as we are speaking, we have only 2 projects that have been implemented through this particular format. Out of the 15 projects that are currently being deliberated on. So you can see even the speed of implementation of these projects, the deliberations of it take a lot of time, and this mainly has to do to the technical understanding, the know-how of how to negotiate on these projects. And I have a background in business, and I can honestly say I don't understand half of the things when we come into deliberations. So as much as we are focusing on the policy, and it's very important that we also develop capacity even for policy makers to understand, at least from a general standpoint, when you go into negotiations on these particular sensitive issues, that at least you have some level of understanding on these matters. So the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, under the 8th phase government, has taken deliberate measures, first of all, to review our laws, to review our policies, to set up better guidelines for PPP implementation. And one of the areas that we have focused on is, first of all, to establish a special unit under the Attorney General's office called the Government Negotiating Team. This is a unit that is comprised of the Attorney General as the chairman, but it also comprises of the different directors from planning, from the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, the permanent secretaries, as well as lawyers, especially those who are dealing with commercial law and other things like that. And then the other area that we shifted our focus on is to review our laws to make them more friendly, especially for what we call unsolicited projects. To protect intellectual property for unsolicited projects, to make sure that they're not subject to competition in case an investor comes in with an unsolicited idea. With the previous framework, the way it was a bit of a challenge for most of the investors because of their worry that if I bring up an idea, then I'm going to be subject to a tendering process, which under normal circumstances, you would have to compensate them. But the circumstances in reality are quite different. So there's no compensation, but then you also lose out on your idea. So we've made the reviews of the law, and this was done early last year. And it's been a revelation, because now it has opened up doors, attracting more interest from private investors who want to come in and collaborate with the government in PPP projects. We understand the need that is available for funding in public services, and so this has been very good for us so far, and we are continuing very well. Another issue that I wanted to highlight on is on the issue of conducting feasibility studies. And this is, the ideal scenario would be if the government itself can be able to fund the feasibility study. which means you have more leverage in terms of when you are coming in to negotiate. But unfortunately, if you look at most of these PPP projects, they are very capital intensive, which means even on the feasibility study, the detailed design, coming up with a bankable feasibility study, first of all, it takes a lot of time, but also it's very expensive. And so this is one of the areas where we try to make it very clear to our investors that in terms of the feasibility study, that this is something that they should take on board. And we are grateful so far for all the 15 projects currently being negotiated under the government negotiating team. The investors have agreed to conduct the feasibility study. We are lucky that in the beginning we had some assistance from the World Bank, where we received some funding to conduct feasibility study in around 13 projects. So that has been a bit helpful, and we can see the leverage that we have in those areas because we already have an existing feasibility study.